welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that little break. You might also have viewed a very, very quick run-through of the previous two talks as I clicked through to get us to the right slide. We are going to now welcome our third and last speaker of the evening, last but not least, Design Systems Beyond Components. Mike, please, stage is yours.
Awesome. Oh, Lewis.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought so. I was naked. Can you all hear me okay? Awesome. So I'm Mike Simpson. I'm the one and only designer for the design system. I'm not the only designer in NewDay, but I'm the only one that works on the design system. And I'm going to take you through what design systems look like beyond components. So where we are with Rise today. So I didn't really want to take you through a slide. I probably should have put one in now, thinking about it. But where we are today now, we have 5 platforms, iOS, Android, one SaaS product, which is for our internal agents for our call center, web servicing and acquisitions. So web servicing, iOS and Android are very much the same. They're an account dashboard for all of our customers, basically, where you can look at your balances, make payments, things like that. Acquisitions does exactly what it says on the tin. That's where we acquire all of our customers, basically, and that's very much form-based. So that's quite a simple system to put Rise into. And then the SaaS product, as I say, it's for our internal agents. So that's very much quite a complex dashboard as well. So we've also got, on top of that, obviously that's all built on different codes. So we've got Kotlin, Swift, and finally we've migrated over to Tailwind as well. We were using Chakra for quite some time, but we managed to get the web team onto Tailwind. So that's made that implementation much easier. On top of that, we've also got 22 brands. And you can imagine the complexity of our token systems from that point. On top of the 22 brands as well, we also have external clients and internal clients. So you can imagine the external clients like John Lewis, Argos, AO, they're very particular with the way that they want their brand applied to everything. So the amount of special tokens we have to make for John Lewis, it's fun, it's a good time. It takes a long time to actually get that right. So the back end of our token system's ridiculous, it's quite big, but that's what makes it easier for the design team to map everything. And we also have our own brands as well, which is like Aqua, Marbles, as Robbie mentioned earlier. So that's our credit cards and things like that. We get a lot more control over them. So for instance, on those in-house brands, we use one grey across everything. And of course, John Lewis wants a different grey set. So we have to do that for John Lewis, basically. I love John Lewis. That's like, no, yeah, all the respect. So that's where we are pretty much with Rise at the moment. And that's in a lot of products across a number of different teams as well. So I say I'm like the one and only. So many people have contributed to all of this. And then what's the worst thing you want to do once you've implemented that many tokens into that many products? A token restructure. This was the most stress I've probably had in my career, literally. We basically, as soon as we onboarded the SaaS product, which was using MUI, we actually had a memory leak with our tokens using Token Studio. So I had just made too many tokens and they just weren't set up correctly. So this all came around, I think, probably, I don't know, October last year. And we eventually got to it. Everything was still working, so it was fine. It was kind of frustrating that we couldn't get to it sooner. But around Christmas time, when everyone was off, no one was here, me and an engineer called Billy, in that space in between Christmas and New Year's, you know, where like kind of time stands still, you can get so much done pretty much in that time. So it was just me and him working, pretty much spending, I think, 3 days on one individual call. We managed to be really delicate with all the tokens as well. So none of the tokens, none of the naming conventions changed. That all remained the same. But with all the restructure of the back end, basically we managed to layer it. So we had our core, we had our platform area where our actual platforms like acquisitions, service and web could actually make their own changes and have their own specific overrides. Because as I say, everyone onboards at different times. And then we have our brand, and then we have our theme as well. So that all went through really nicely. And then it took probably a few months for the other teams to get on board with that. And then all the values were wrong in certain places. As I say, with our own brands, that was quite bad. But with the external brands, that was really bad, especially with John Lewis and AO and Argos, things like that. So we found, obviously, that started out as like a kind of technical project between two people. And then we realized, well, we've actually got to present this back to a number of different teams, a number of different engineering teams, a number of different product teams to actually like kind of stagger this release and do it as a V2 of our token system. So we thought success looked like, all right, all the components are working well, foundations updated, documentation's updated. It wasn't. What success actually looked like was just talking to the people, getting our governance right, having the correct processes in place, and also discussing a new kind of contribution model from there. So Rise was never built by one team, as I kind of just spoke about. I say, as I mentioned before, I'm the one and only, but I would say there's probably been around 30 to 40 contributors to Rise throughout the last couple of years as well. And everyone comes with their different ideas and their different processes. So the core team, me, I guess the last couple of months has been pretty much focused on design debt management because of the token restructuring. Luckily, Figma Canvas got released just at the right time, so I've been able to map everything quite easily. If you haven't checked it out, try and check it out. The design team have always been kind of integral in building the components and the patterns, because we're quite a regulated company. We can get everything tested when the designers are actually building these components as well. So that saves me a lot of time. And obviously, where we distribute the amount of the components that we're building at one time, and that's in mobile, web, and also the SaaS product, we can get a lot of testing done pretty quickly and pretty seamlessly. So that's using other people to kind of get the menial task, but also putting that work in where it's quite simple to get done. So it's not an extra burden on one person to do that. And then as we started doing it as well, the web engineers, we used innovation days. As with any design system project, it's so difficult to get anything off the ground. So the one thing I got told by, obviously, the higher-ups, the senior stakeholders, was like, why don't you use innovation days? So we had to take out days within the team, get 8 of us together, come up with basically our pipelines, our CI/CD integration. So anything that I was then able to do within Figma, we just pretty much pushed straight through to our products as well. And we slowly integrated all of the teams on there. We had mobile integrate on another innovation day. We had Fusion, our SaaS product, do it on another innovation day. So throughout the time, we discovered different processes and different ways to do things. And when we actually onboarded the mobile engineers, after that was done, we found time within the roadmap. We actually had to work on a versioning of all of our components as well. That was another little stressful period, more fun, but how we were able to actually come up with a template within Figma that was versioned and used a specific change log and get everyone on board there. Because I think as design system designers, we make things that work for designers and engineers. And then out of all of that, basically, there's so many different tasks there. We wanted to distribute that between different team members. And the one thing I really needed was distributed accountability across many different places. Because sometimes it would always come down to like one engineer had to go and do this, another one had to do that, and then they'd have to go and onboard another engineer. So we wanted to make that a little bit more, for lack of a better term, more professional, I guess, and have certain people to go to when people needed to be onboarded, basically. So what we did, obviously, this kind of works down from like a bottom up to the top down as well. And it's been the best way we've been able to do things because then everyone feels involved. When it comes to contributors, they're, as I mentioned, doing the components, things like that. The platform owners is something that we brought in because we needed that accountability. So from each of those products, we have 2 people to actually take control. And then also when it's the contributors' time and they want to show something and just get feedback, they go to the platform owners, basically. And then when it comes through to the global owners, that's going to be people like the engineering leads, engineering managers, design leads, and myself as well. So there's a nice structure there. And anything that we'd come up with the calls with the engineering leads and things like that, we'd then distribute down, have our presentations, sell that stuff in, test it across the designers. And trust me, I've done a lot of things wrong. We've got a bunch of processes in place. They lasted a month, and then you move on to the next one, basically. So that's been really good over the course of time, and we're always building on that as well. So what that did was actually opened up opportunities for more innovation, and that started to move us away from having to do everything ourselves and looking more into tooling and self-service, basically. These are the few areas that we pretty much highlighted, where we could save a lot of time, that we didn't need the platform owners or the engineering leads or me involved in these conversations, basically. So one strategy, and sorry, I should have mentioned it on the previous slide, Figma Make, when that came along, kind of was a little bit game-changing. Once Claude was obviously integrated, I'll get onto it into a bit. But basically, we built tooling so we'd stop reprompting. I just had a eureka moment, and I just kept going around in circles, and it came to the problem prompt, and then I'd get the output, and then I'd keep reprompting to get the specific output that I wanted, and it would just waste so much time, so many credits. So I had a moment, I just thought, why don't I just create a tool so I don't have to keep reprompting? And I'll move on to the tools in a moment. But you get into a constant cycle of the prompting trap. There's just no way out of it once you've started to go down that cycle. So once you've done AI discovery for that reason, and you actually validate the tool that you kind of want to build, then you build that tool. You have to be quite lean with your prompts, because sometimes it will start to get confused and start working on other functions, and then you realize that function actually hasn't been made. But that capability was really groundbreaking within the team as well, and just opened up to so many more opportunities. So the opportunities, and I like this as well, AI didn't create the opportunities. We had the opportunities beforehand. It made it achievable. It did used to make it affordable. Obviously, when we had all the tokens of the world to use, have to be quite lean now in the way that you're actually using prompts. But I made a place that we could manage Rise for documentation purposes. Managing tokens, I really liked it. Token Studio. We also use Figma variables because everything maps within Figma variables of what we've got. But I wanted a couple of other tools to actually put into a token management tool. So I started experimenting with that as well. So a few of these are still work in progress. So the first, right, got to pray to the gods for this one. So the demo gods. So I'm going to join the call. And I'm going to share. I'm in. So the first tool is the brand configurator. So we kept having a problem going back and forth. As I mentioned, we have like 22 brands, and we constantly doing pitches, and we're constantly going back and forth. I think within brand, we went back probably 2 sprints to get the colors right, just to get the colors right. PTSD, honestly. But there were so many things we had to work out. And with this just opens up the opportunity for product owners to have control, but then also obviously need a little bit of guidance from design. But it also brings the client along with the journey. So with this, if I just put this in, I can upload my logo here. And then I'll just go for a default set. By the way, this is all just vibe coded by me. So this has had no input from anyone else, bar a lot of testing with the design team as well. And then I can generate that. And then this is what our designs basically look like. So this is a one-to-one copy of our designs and our account management in account summary for our digital servicing team. And this is all set up with our design tokens as well, using the Figma API. So if I want to change out, I think this will probably only change the bar, but let's make that more purple. So then that will switch out from there. And this can all be done in real time as well. And then I can work down. If I want to see, you can imagine you're speaking to your client as well, going back and forth. You can put in different font styles as well. So I usually try and make this quite ugly just to kind of prove the point. If I wanted to change the gray of the background, I can do that. So you can imagine how much time this is kind of going to save. And then, as I say, you always need a designer there. Don't let a product manager take this away. No offense. We can change out the border radius. We can also add a little bit of elevation here as well. Now, this is just for our account summary, but it kind of gives a product owner or senior stakeholder an idea of how a design system works across a number of different products as well, which is always kind of hard to describe. What's the point of doing tokens? Why do we need to do this, basically? But you'll see here, we've got our registration page. We've got a post-transaction journey here, where we can go down and actually go through pretty much whole journey as well. Now, the more I actually prompted this as well, the better it got at reading our designs as well. And then this is our acquisition journey. I said it was very form-based, but this is how the design system is applied to our acquisition journey as well. This isn't actually designs I've made to purposely look a little bit ugly. But you can actually see it from our SaaS product and just a general dashboard there. So we don't have to design everything. We don't have to have every single journey here. It's just to get rid of that touch point that you have with the clients. And it just brings them along for the ride and makes it much more fun to do it with them. We could also change up the content. So if I come over here, I won't spend too much time on this. It can make it look like my account. And then you can also change and add transactions down here, which is quite good. So you could just start to mess around with things and the client gets to see exactly how everything's going to work. Or what this also does, and then this works on mobile as well. So it brings it down how it looks in mobile. Also iOS and also Android. Now, we also have style guide. So that's exported nicely. We also have an accessibility breakdown. Another cool thing is it actually goes to our dark mode as well. So we can pretty much see everything here, but I know what you're saying. What is the point of any of this if I have to bring it out and then replicate that again? Well, what I actually wanted to do was be able to prompt this. So it exported the tokens to one of our files. So if I come over here, and you'll be able to see, there's nothing in here. This is no trick. So I've got to duplicate this file, not duplicate, copy the link. Then I can go back here. And this is all set up just with the Figma API. So we got my personal access token there. Come on. Did I push them? Will it work? It will. And I can come back to the file and you can see that's actually exported my tokens into our naming convention as well. But it hasn't just done that. It's done the tokens at the back end, so our brand set, but it's also aliased everything as well. So everything that we need is there. So I can now take that away and I can just form that straight into our design system. So takes out that work and that back and forth, basically. Oh, thanks. That was just one tool. No, thanks. Let's not do that. So I probably won't dive too much into this one, to be honest with you, because I probably spent a little bit too much time on that. But another one that I wanted to do was look into the CMS, as I mentioned, all the documentation that we needed to do. So I created, like, this is all plugged in as well, and just created pretty much a simple documentation site for people to go to. I think, as Ennis said, like, who reads this stuff sometimes? So I'm really trying to get this across. So we actually have something to go and like have a point of call to. We're having discussions with the engineers about how we make this work a little bit better as well. But here, one of the best things that I actually prompted this to do, probably one of the most simple prompts I've ever done, was I just said, can you just turn this into a CMS? And that's exactly what it did. So I can come in here and I can just put in everything that I want to from that perspective. Let's see if I save that and exit that. And look, you can see that's actually done there. I can revert all of this, so don't worry. This feature still needs a little bit of work, in all honesty, but it's linked through to our component library as well. So same thing, use the Figma API. You can bring that in, and I've got my component web file there. As mentioned, still needs a little bit of work, in all honesty, but it actually comes up. Will it do it? This takes always a little bit of time. There it is. There's our button. This takes a little bit of time. It's probably because I got quite bad Wi-Fi. This feature isn't quite done yet, but what it could do, or what it does, is actually generates documentation as well. So don't get me wrong, I read through it. Some of it's a little bit of slop, but with the option to actually have the CMS, we can actually go back in, edit all of this as well. So that's what I kind of want to say. Just don't keep reprompting, think of the tool, and then build the tool around your prompting. Right, I need to go back to the presentation. So if I come out of this, and then the tool, the token tool, basically, we still use Token Studio, but because you have to buy a license, I was like, we need more people to actually have access to this. So I wanted to create a tool so we don't have to keep buying licenses. So this actually plugs into our GitHub as well through another API. But the extra step that I wanted to add in was an actual contrast checker for all of our tokens as well. So we obviously have a mapping and everything has a correlated token basically. And we actually get instant feedback of if that token's working. So that's just a nice added extra feature to everything. So most tools have now become part of the ecosystem of Rise, basically. Like I always think design systems are more of a service than they are a product. People want to plug in, well, what's different ways that they can plug in? They can plug into the different tools that you've actually built yourself as well. Now, all of that was built by myself, and I think we've all felt the crunch of losing unlimited tokens. So it was awesome. Like I was in a Ferrari, I was driving down Milan, it was amazing. Now I'm in a Vespa down an A road on my way to Newcastle. Really tough. It was amazing, as I say. The tools that I just showed you, I think the credits that we built, or I built that specifically, was probably nearing on about 100,000 for each of them. So it was like sheer will to get them done. But what that came out from that was basically an opportunity. So we have to be more disciplined with our prompts. So the share capability of our prompts. So as I basically mentioned, it was just me doing it, and it's difficult to actually bring that across. And if I'm the only one working on the tools, I'm the only one that knows about the tools as well. So if I share the prompts that I'm thinking of, or the new functions that I actually want to do, and then I can send it over to Robbie, and then he can go and then prompt that. So I think we get around 4,000 with Figma at the moment. So off the top of my head, like 20 designers. So we're 100,000, we can get to about 80,000 credits if we all combine our credits together. And with that, it just opens the opportunity for other people who have ideas for different tools as well. So anyone, we have a page on Confluence, can then fill in a Confluence page with an idea, get a few prompts ahead of time, and then once our credits renew, we can then pick a specific tool to focus on and then get that done between us. One thing I'd love to do with the team as well is use another innovation day. And we can all sit there together. We could all come up with different ideas. We could all prompt together to get a certain functionality done as well. So it's being economical with the credits that we have now. So as I mentioned, just scale the capability, put it all together, have specific prompts that you will want to do together, have scripts that you want to do, know exactly what function you want to work on. Don't, as I mentioned, you have to be quite economical with your prompts. Use Claude. Like I kind of use Claude to begin with to get to a certain point, and then I'll start to dwindle down to like the default from there as well, because Claude's quite expensive, but it gets the hard graph done initially. And then, as I mentioned, that just brings the whole team together as well. So, like as one of my closing points, it's like I said like I was the one and only, but there's so many people in NewDay that have contributed so much to the design system as well in so many different ways. As I mentioned before, it's probably around 40 or 50 people, new and old as well, who have had, no matter how small it is, they've all had something to do with the design system, whether that be building a component, bringing in a new process, and it's all happened on this long journey over 2 years as well. We didn't get everything right, first of all. As I mentioned, I got a lot wrong. As soon as I had more people involved, we looked at the contribution model as well, had more ideas together, and we got things right first time rather than me getting it right the third time round. So like as a closing thought as well, as I mentioned, it's like more of an ecosystem, it's more of a service. And the most valuable thing out of a design system as well, it's not the components or tokens or the tools, it's the ability for many teams to solve problems together. And that's what I found has been the best aspect of Rise and how we've built the design system over the last 2 years. I don't have a thank you slide, but thank you very much.